Leslie Dewar, Chairman of the Clay County Republican Party. And the first thing I would like to do is start off our evening by asking Nicholas Adkins, a Star Scout, to come up and lead us in an invocation and pledge. Nicholas?
God is reverend. Heavenly Father, we are eternally grateful for the gift of life you have given us, and especially grateful for the quality of life that we have in Clay County. Please continue to bless our families, businesses, schools, and government so that we may live our lives to our fullest potential and glorify you. God, we publicly recognize and thank our remarkable candidates and their families, and are grateful for their willingness to serve our schools, community, and the future of our youth. O God of wisdom and truth, bless and guide us through the grace of your Spirit as we gather to deliberate and decide on matters so important to the well-being of Clay County. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you, Nicholas. The two main purposes of the Republican Party of Florida and the Clay County Republican Party, we have two functions that we do, and that is get out the vote and educate the electorate. So by doing that, with local races like this, we like to have forums. We have a forum, another forum coming up on the sheriff's debate later this month. We will have another superintendent and school board forum in July. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, let's get to the agenda tonight. We have a lot of topics to cover. The candidates will have an opening statement and a closing statement. They will then be asked a series of questions in between those two. They also have 3 lovely green rebuttal cards that they will be able to use. Those rebuttal cards will be thrown at any time at the discretion of the candidate during the question and answer sessions. Please be mindful as we go through this. Everybody is going to be answering questions. Everything is going to be timed. So we ask that you keep the applause to, I want to say typical applause. It would be nice to do. Also, if I could ask one other housekeeping, please put your cell phone to stun. I would appreciate that as well. The questions have all been prepared in advance, and a panel has gone over the questions, and the REC members have done that. So the candidates will all be available afterwards for question and answers. After we are done with the school board round, it'll take us about 30 to 45 minutes, and then we will switch into the superintendent after that. I would also like to thank the Republican Party of Clay County, my REC board, and our Toastmasters, Orange Park Toastmasters here, Michael Roberts and Neil McClellan. They will be timing everything that we have going forward. So now, I would like to introduce, fast off the expressway, Kent Justice, our news anchor and political reporter and host of This Week in Jacksonville. After graduating from Pepperdine University in California, Kent began his media career as a city desk assistant. I don't know what that is, but it's interesting. Interesting though, and a personal note, Kent's son Jonathan just graduated from St. Augustine High and also has been accepted into Pepperdine University. So without further ado, I will actually ask Kent and give him a warm Clay County welcome and have Kent come up.
I appreciate that, and I'll tell you what, the short definition of a city desk assistant in a big metropolitan newspaper is gopher. The guy who writes the crime blotter and obituaries, and that's what I do at the LA Daily News. But it was a start of a journalism career that has brought me some 25 years later here. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you here in Clay County. Some of you, probably many of you, were at the forum that we did not too long ago with the sheriff's candidates. I'm really honored that folks keep inviting me back to Clay County to do this. So I'm looking forward to hearing what our candidates have to say tonight and being with you. So thank you for your patience as well. I know a lot of you are doing this. Sorry about that, but that means there's a lot of people who are really interested and we're all sitting close together. And thank you for your patience because, yes, right off the expressway, traffic was not very kind to me trying to get here from downtown Jacksonville, so thank you for that. All right, so candidates to review. We just went over this a little bit. You're going to be asked questions in pairs, and you're going to have a minute to respond. With 15 seconds remaining, there's going to be a yellow light that appears on the timer here. Michael's going to make the yellow light appear. There it is. Once your time is done, the red light will appear, and it looks like that. So thank you for that. I'll let you finish the sentence, unless it's a really long run-on sentence, in which case I'll cut you off, which would be rude on my part, but also part of the duties of the moderator. So all of you have been supplied with the 3 rebuttal cards that Leslie just talked about. You can display that card at any time, and if you do that when another candidate is answering a question, that's fine. We'll let that candidate complete their time. Then we'll move to you, where you'll be given 30 seconds for your rebuttal remarks. You only have those 3 rebuttal opportunities available. I think we all understand that. So the pairings here, if you are familiar, and I bet most of you are, Carol Studdard and Brian Campbell are in it's District 2. And then next to them, Mary Bola and Jonna McKinnon, who are in District 4. All running for school board, as you know, but in those different districts. The questions, I'm going to work back and forth to make sure that hopefully all 4 get to answer kind of the same topics. But for interest's sake, we're not going to spend 5 minutes on the same question and then do it, so that you get to separate a little bit on who's answering what and make your own decisions here, all right? And so when all the questions are completed, I'll let you know. We're going to be out of time and what have you. We are going to begin, however, with opening remarks. And I'm going to start at the far end here with Jonna McKinnon. You have 2 minutes to tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here. My name is Jonna McKinnon. I was elected in 2012 to represent District 4, the Clay County School Board, and I'm currently your school board chairman. I served in the United States Navy as a jet engine mechanic for 10 years and was honorably discharged in 1993. During the 23 years that I've lived in Clay County, my husband and I have raised 3 sons in the Clay County school system. And in just a few short years, our first grandchild will be entering kindergarten. So we're very excited about that. In 2012, I was compelled to run for office because I wanted to serve my community and make a difference. I set out with rose-colored glasses and very high hopes that my sheer determination to make a difference would overcome any obstacle that I would encounter. Well, what I learned was that our district was facing real challenges, financial challenges brought on by the downturn of the economy, overburdensome regulations with high-stakes testing and telling us how to manage our budget, and federal regulations with the handing down of Common Core. Well, what I know is that to be an effective problem solver, you got to roll up your sleeves and you have to make those hard decisions. Decisions that are not always popular, but they are necessary for the achievement of any goal. As a quality engineer for GE, I also know that to be an effective problem solver, you have to have the right problem-solving methodology. The methodology that I'm professionally trained in, we call DMAIC, Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. First, we define the problem, because without a clear understanding of the problem, you don't know what you're working on. Secondly, we measure it. We collect the data, and we use that data to confirm the characteristics of the problem. Then we analyze that data, and we let it drive us to the root cause so that we know where to go improve that problem. Then we put the improvement in place. We set a plan in place, and we execute it. And lastly, we put the necessary controls in place to sustain those achievements. In my career, and I'll just finish up. In my career...
That's time. Sorry. That's 2 minutes. All right, Mary Bola, if you'd have 2 minutes here.
Thank you. I'm Mary Bola, and I would like to represent you on the school board. When Wayne and I moved here 30 years ago, we chose Clay County because of its excellent school system. I'm not certain that we would make that same decision today. Shortly after moving here, I joined the University of North Florida as its director of admissions. I loved it. It was awesome working in the state university system and enjoying an administrative role. However, I greatly missed working with the children. When I came home one Friday afternoon and told Wayne, I think I would like to resign, He looked at me and said, why? I said, I want to become a school teacher. And he said, let me get this right. You want to resign your position, you're going to go back for a second master's degree and make about half as much money. And I said, yes. And he goes, and this is all because you want to work with children. And I said, exactly. And I've never regretted my decision. I worked in Clay County for the last 17 years. I started at W.E. Cherry and moved over to Argyle Elementary, and I was honored by both of those schools to be selected as their Teacher of the Year. So why do I want to become a school board member? When I look at doing anything in life, and when I look at having a project done, I look for a professional. I want to make certain that someone who is helping me do something that maybe I don't understand or maybe I haven't had the experience with is the professional that I need to get the job done. I'm a professional educator. I'm a teacher. I worked with children from kindergarten all the way through college. Basically, why I want to become a candidate? Currently, I work with about 46 children, 24 in my class, 22 in the other class. I want to work with 37,000 children. I want to make a difference in their life because those 37,000 children are our future. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carol Studdard. I'm running for re-election to District 2, Clay County School Board. I've served on the school board for 23.5 years, and I would really love to serve another term if you see fit in the voting booth. In the 37 years that we have lived in Clay County, I've been very involved in our community. My husband retired from General Motors and we moved here from Atlanta. Our 3 girls went through Orange Park Elementary, Lakeside Junior, and Orange Park High School. During that time, I got very active in our schools, in the PTA at that time at Orange Park Elementary, chorus parent at the junior high and at the senior high school. One thing led to another, and I eventually decided to run for school board in 1992. I've been very active in this community. I believe in service to the community. I've been a member of the Rotary Club of Orange Park since 1992. I served as president of that organization. I served on the Quigley board for 10 years. In fact, the year I was president of the board, we built Quigley House that's now down north of Green Cove. I serve on the Take Stock in Children Leadership Council. That is a scholarship program where kids can go to college. I'm on the YMCA board. I've been active in the Chamber of Commerce over the years. I've served as president of the Republican Women's Club. I have given to the community. I'm active in my church. I attend regularly. I've been a member since '79 when we moved here. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of where I'm coming from, and then in the closing statements I can tell you what I would like to do with the school district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Campbell, and I would like to represent you on the Clay County School Board. You know, I love Clay County schools. In fact, as Mary said, they're quite often, they're actually the reason why we moved here. When my wife Sarah and I were looking for our home, we looked at schools in Duval County and we looked at schools in Clay County, and we determined it really wasn't a choice at all. We needed to be in Clay County. Our 2 children have gone through their education in Clay County schools. In fact, my daughter Lauren, in the back there, she just graduated last year from Fleming Island High School. Her very first teacher in kindergarten at Montclair Elementary, with Mrs. Adams over there as the principal, was Mrs. Obelstein, a nationally accredited kindergarten teacher. How cool is that? My son Nathan, back there with the camera, hello Nathan, is a sophomore in the ACE program at Fleming Island, at least for another day, and we're very proud of him. And then also back there is my wife Sarah, who actually had a work function in Orlando today, and much like Mr. Justice, she fought the traffic on the I-4 corridor to be there. So I think she's a big winner. So thank you, dear. Well, I think like many parents, I've grown frustrated with the fighting and the bickering that we see in in the Clay County schools. So often, instead of focusing on the students and on education, we're focusing on divisive political punditry, petty lawsuits, arguments, and disappointment. In fact, sometimes I think that those who are supposed to be demonstrating leadership to our students are acting more like the children themselves. As a Clay County parent, I'm sick and tired of opening up the newspaper or turning on the TV and being embarrassed by what I see from the Clay County schools. So a friend said, if you want to do something about it, you have to do something about it, so here I am. And that's 2 minutes, and I'll talk more at the close. Thank you.
So at this point, I'm going to move into addressing some questions to each of the candidates. I'm going to keep that separated by district, and we're going to start in District 2, the last two folks who just spoke with you. And I want you to be mindful, as you're a little uncomfortable up there, it's even hotter up here under the light. It's even hotter up here under the questioning and what have you. So thank you for each of you, and if you need to fan yourself, it's okay. We do have some cold water here. So we're going to begin with Carol Studdard and Brian Campbell. Ms. Studdard, the first question, or first response is to you. And remember, all of you candidates can use that rebuttal card at any time. Here's the first question for you, Ms. Studdard and then Mr. Campbell. In the last 4 years, the school district credit rating has been downgraded twice. So what changes would you recommend to strengthen the district's financial standing?
I think that one thing that we need to do is look at the spending that we are doing in the district and make sure that the expenditures are necessary. And just recently did our credit rating get reduced. For the other 23 and a half years, it's been excellent. I think that we must keep our 3% reserves. We had a 2-year plan to get the reserves back up to the 3%. Then all of a sudden we had to rush and do it. And by doing the 2-year plan, we could have done it without hurting our employees. I think that we just need more leadership right now.
Thank you, Ms. Studdard. Mr. Campbell, same question.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, as almost everyone in here is informed, we know that we have to stay above that 3% fund reserve. Dropping below that level is the reason why our credit rating was dropped multiple times. And if we drop below again, it's not just the threat of Tallahassee taking over the schools. We know that this county is growing. We need to be prepared for the future. We need to be prepared for expansion in Green Cove Springs and the Outer Beltway. And in order to do that, that requires building schools. That requires making changes to the district. And those changes become hundreds and thousands of dollars and millions of dollars more expensive when we don't have a credit rating. So we have to maintain the fund balance at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you. This question is for Mary Ball first, and then John McKinnon. Similar topic, different question. How will you work to increase funding to the school district? Ms. Bola first.
Sorry. The first thing that I would probably do is request an audit of the school system. And I'd like to determine exactly what jobs are required, what jobs are necessary for those people who do not have face time with each of the children that we serve. Once we've looked at those folks and determined what those jobs are necessary, unnecessary, perhaps there's duplication, we need to start looking at outside sources for some of our funding. We're told that we only get so much from Tallahassee. That's true of all of the counties within the state, and we have to use it wisely. I'm not certain that we're currently using it wisely, and I think we need to do a good audit and determine exactly what's necessary and what's not necessary in our budget at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Bola. John McKinnon.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to say that our school system gets audited every year, so we know exactly where that money is going. Secondly, I think to increase funding, one of the things that we need to do is we need to continue to have those really talented folks that we have who are really good at grant writing and apply for these grants that are available to bring extra funding into the district. You know, Mary's right, there is a need to scrutinize every dollar, and we do need to make sure that our funding is going to those right programs. I think also by realigning and repurposing many of our resources right now, we're going to get a bigger bang for our buck. So that's my thought on that.
Thank you. Yes, this is a revolving card, so Mary Bola, there you go.
I
30
understand.
seconds here.
Thank you. I understand that there's an audit of our school system every year. What I'm asking is for an audit of the actual jobs that people are doing, and I'd like to see the duplication of jobs discontinued, because I'm aware that there is duplication of jobs in our school system, and we're wasting money on that. Outside sources are definitely available through grant writing. We have one person right now who's working on grants, and our other person that was working on grants has just been promoted yet again. I mean, this needs to stop, and we need to start looking at how we can use our money more wisely.
John McKinnon wants to use a revolving
Yeah,
card.
just real quick, I just want to say that every 2 years, our school board policy requires us every 2 years to review every job description. And when we do that, that's when we discover whether we've got duplication and things like that. So we're very good at that. Our district staff is very, very good at looking at what jobs are duplicated. And I mean, in fact, this past year, we have done a lot of sort of, well, I don't want to say downsizing, but a lot of having to combine a lot of roles and responsibilities in areas where there may have been duplication. So I just want to say we do that every 2 years.
Thank you. Reminder on the revolving cards, you can use them even if the question wasn't addressed to your district or what have you. We're going to go back to District 2 now, and Mr. Campbell is first, and then Ms. Stubbard. What, if anything, would you do as a school board member to restore the 3-step in the salary schedule that teachers have not received over the past several years?
So, again, I think we talked earlier about the 3% fund balance, how important that is. And I know that there's going to be growth, that's where we start. But when we maintain a healthy budget, when we do what is necessary to increase the funding, as is discussed, when we look at other ways, whether to consolidate resources, to reallocate internally, then we can help get those funds back. I will say that a #1 priority for me will be to make sure that we find money for the teachers. I will say that I will not do it at the cost of the credit rating and the 3% fund balance of the school district.
Stubbard.
Would you repeat the question, please?
What, if anything, would you do as a school board member to restore the 3-step in the salary schedule that teachers haven't received over the past several years?
In the 23 years that I've served on the board, the one thing that I was most proud of is that the Clay County School District was family. We respected each other, we took care of each other, and our employees were part of our family. That doesn't seem to be the case these days. I believe that our employees deserve to be paid a fair wage. I will do everything in my power to try to help them. When I first got on the board, I think they were making, the beginning salary was like $18,000, so it's come a long way, but we've still got a ways to go. Right now, our budgetary restrictions have been so tight that it has been extremely hard, but I feel that if we could work together collaboratively, we can get this show on the road and get our employees paid like they should be paid.
Thank you very much.
Collaboration is the key.
All right, this question, back to District 4, and Ms. McKinnon, you'll go first, and then Ms. Bola. How would you improve the morale of the Clay County school employees?
I don't know that's possible. That's a really great question. Let me just say this. First of all,
Meetings will continue.
I understand why the morale is what it is, and it really goes back to the last question that you just asked. The salary step plan, okay? I just want to say, this is just my opinion, I think that the salary step plan for increases, for getting increases, is a plan for disappointment and failure when the school district has no control over the incoming revenue and the mandated expenditures. I say that because we spent millions more in increases in the revenue that we brought in between the years of 2008 up to 2012, and it literally busted our budget, okay? So I understand the morale problem, and I think that because of that, you can see, you know, it's a plan for disappointment. Teachers are disappointed because they haven't got the step increases that they were promised. And I don't think that you can make promises that you cannot keep. So I think that, okay, thank you. You can't make promises that you can't keep.
Thank you. Very bold.
I would start with transparency. How am I going to improve the morale of my fellow teachers, and not just the teachers? We're talking custodians, we're talking bus drivers, we are talking every employee of the Clay County school system, which, by the way, is the largest employer in this county. The morale has never been lower. And how can we improve it? Put us first. Do not wait till the fourth calculation, because in the fourth calculation, we don't get money. We were told, wait till the fourth calculation, and when that fund balance is at 3.0, we will talk again. The fund balance was at 3.0 in the third calculation, and surprisingly, for that fourth calculation, it went down to 2.94. No talking's available, because we didn't make it. The morale is awful right now. It has not everything to do with money, however. We'd like a little bit of respect.
Thank you very much. I'll say ditto to the transparency and everything that Ms. Bulla just said, but what I want to say is even a step further, is that my degree is in communications. I spent 14 years working in broadcast television. I understand that part of the transparency problem is a communications problem. I've sat in the school board meetings for the last 2 years, and I've heard situation after situation where people were simply confused about an issue because it wasn't communicated in a way that was effective. So I believe that effective communications are critical to improving the morale. Thank you.
All right, and this question to District 2, Carol Studdard and then Brian Campbell. Was the money allocated to equip Clay County school buses with GPS tracking systems a wise investment?
Well, you didn't juggle those questions up with me, did you? Let me talk about teacher morale. I voted against purchasing the GPS systems. It's a 5-year plan. The first year you pay nothing. The second, third, and fourth, fifth year, it was $366,000 a year. In my opinion, and I was on the short end, as usual, of a 3-2 vote, I would have preferred, I heard some of the bus drivers talking about they need to have properly working radios. If they're out there and they can't use their radios, we are in trouble. So I said that night on the board floor, and let me finish this, that I had rather look at radios, cameras, and air conditioning. These hot on those buses with our kids before we buy a GPS system. Now, GPS is nice, but we can't afford nice right now. But 3 members of the board said we could.
Thank you.
Is that money available for air conditioning in this room right now? So I might vote for that.
Let's take a vote.
So, yes, I absolutely support this, and I understand that it's difficult when there's money for capital outlay and other things, and there's always something else that we want that money to go for. But when I think about the 37,000 kids and the kids that get on those buses, and the fact that we are responsible, if I was to be elected, and those elected officials up here, that we're responsible for those, from the moment that they go to the bus stop, to the moment that they get to school, until they get home. This is a safety issue, and I fully support it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Studdard would like to use a rebuttal card. And John McKinnon gets to go first on it. So candidates, make sure you catch my eye so that I get you in the right.
I just want to First of all, it is a 5-year plan, and it's not $300,000 per year. It's actually $138,000 per year, which is very minimal in the big scheme of a $310 million budget. But that money does come out of capital outlay. It doesn't. You can't use that money for teacher salaries or anything like that. Okay, so it's capital outlay. Radios are a minimal cost. That is not something that we can't go do, and I'm sure that it's going to be on the radar of our transportation folks. Lastly, my time's up, but I just wanted to correct the amount that we're paying each year.
And I apologize for giving the wrong numbers. It's tough up here. No, I just want to say something. In my 23 and a half years, we have never lost a school bus.
To District 4 now, and Mary Bola, this question to you first, and then Ms. McKinnon. This question, well, what are your thoughts on outsourcing areas such as transportation, food services, and custodial services?
Outsourcing areas such as custodial services, food services, and I'm sorry, what was the third?
Transportation, food,
Transportation,
custodial.
thank you. In looking at those three, I would say we've already reduced those populations dramatically, so I don't know that outsourcing would never necessarily save us much money. What I would like to see us outsource is areas that have concern that we don't have the equipment to do. As I was going door to door, I ran into a man who said, you know, I've been asking the school system to mow this ditch behind my house because it's part of Patterson Elementary's property. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of everything that's in this ditch, and every time I call the school board, they say, we don't have the equipment to do it. That's where outsourcing belongs. What we need to do is insource and make certain that all of our custodial staffs are running full-time, and also our cafeteria staffs. One of the concerns at Patterson Elementary is, at Plantation Oaks Elementary is the number of students eating. There you go.
Thank you. John McKinnon.
I would say that in terms of outsourcing areas, transportation is not an area that I think that I would consider outsourcing. Number one, we have too many assets in that area. All those school buses and things like that belong to us. And once you get rid of those, it's very difficult to get those resources back. In terms of food services, there's no reason to outsource food services because we're doing really good in that area of food service in terms of saving money and stuff like that. Every year we get tremendous reports about our food service department where they're saving us money, and our lunch program is wonderful. Custodial services, I'm not so sure. I think there may be an opportunity to outsource custodial services and save the district a huge amount of money. So while I haven't, firmly said I would do that, I think that is certainly an area that might be worth looking at.
I'm just waiting to see if I saw a clean car.
I don't really want to rebut, I just want to comment. Is that okay?
You may. You got to use.
Well, I mean, I'm using my rebuttal, but I'm not rebutting.
Absolutely.
Okay. This outsourcing comes up every once in a while over the years, and we certainly have an excellent transportation department. We have excellent food service department. I mean, second to none. The custodial service, I just wish that we had the money to hire more custodians. But we have to be careful when we're looking at outsourcing because, as I said before, we take care of our people, and I don't want to put someone out on the street. And I want to tell you, we had one outsource that we did the Kelly Girl, and I have had nothing but complaints about it.
All right. Coming to District 2, Mr. Campbell and then Ms. Stutter for this. Specifically, what is Common Core? What are its benefits?
Well, I can answer the benefits part first. And now I'm going to move on to the specifics about what Common Core is. Common Core is a federal standard that's been imposed by Washington, D.C. and has been accepted by the state of Florida as a standard for our education. It includes different modalities of testing that often teachers have not been trained in. And quite honestly, the concept behind it, for someone who wants to try and promote it, the concept behind it is that there's different pathways to learning for different people, and you need to make sure that all of those pathways are taken. I think that most teachers in the room that have talked to me have said that the simple matter is that the result is that it's dumbing down the education, and it's adding just more to the testing, the grading, the pressure that the students are under. So I'm not an educator like Ms. Bola. I'm not going to be able to get into the finer points of how it goes against one teaching method versus another, but I know that I'm opposed to it, and I will go to Tallahassee and do everything I can to get our legislators to try and turn it down in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you repeat the question?
Specifically, what is Common Core and what are its benefits?
Okay. Common Core was tweaked a little bit, and then they started calling it Florida Standards. They tried to fool the public, but we still knew it was Common Core. This was started with 17 governors coming together. Truth of the matter is, all the teachers who I've spoken with say that it is developmentally inappropriate. There's entirely too much testing going on. I am sick to death of all the pressure put on our students and our staff teachers when teachers are being forced to teach to the test. Common Core needs to go. We need more local control on what we are teaching our students.
All right, so our District 4 candidates, John McKinnon and then Mary Bola, to answer this. How will the school choice bill that passed in Tallahassee this year impact Clay County schools, and what will you do to ensure it is a positive change?
That's really a good question. I think the bigger concern. First of all, parents want more choice, okay? They want Common Core out and they want more choice, okay? I think the school choice, the way that it's going to impact Clay County is, well, first of all, in 16 and 17, when all of the district boundaries go away, that's an even greater concern, because then we're going to be having students from whatever district in the state come to our district, because there will be no longer be no boundaries. So I think that's going to have a bigger impact than just school choice in terms of allowing students to attend charter schools or allowing them to attend private school or whatever. I think the bigger concern is what's going to happen in 16 and 17. It could be good and it could be bad, but it's really the way that we have to look at it. So that's my thought on that.
Thank you. Ms. Bola.
Could you repeat the question?
Shannon. How will the school choice bill that passed in Tallahassee this year impact Clay County schools, and what will you do to ensure it is a positive change?
When we look at the number of students within each of our schools, we have to determine exactly how many students we can handle. And with the school choice, those of you who may not be aware of it, basically it does open our county boundaries. And what's going to happen is people are going to look at the impression that each county is leaving on families. And if they find that perhaps St. Johns County, which is ranked #1 in the state, has a better education opportunity for their child, we might find that some of our students will be leaving Clay County. I don't want to see that happen. We have an exceptionally good program here. We have exceptionally good teachers here. And we need to see that our students stay here. We also don't want to see them go to Nassau County, which currently also ranks higher than we do. This is something that's been going on now for years, a number of years, more recently though as well. And this has to change.
Thank you. All right, each of our candidates have been asked the same number of questions. I have one more question I want to ask each of you to respond to this, and we're going to start on this end of the table and move from my right to my left. Your left or right, all right. Mr. Campbell, you're going to go first, and then on down the line. Do you support public tax dollars being spent on charter schools?
Well, support it or not, it's the law. And so my support is that I love what was just said about making our schools competitive, because we want to make our schools the best schools that we can be. And if charter schools are in the community and we can't do anything about it, then what we can do is we can make sure that our schools are more attractive than those charter schools to keep the best and the brightest in the Clay County Public Schools.
I would support what we provide in our school system. Other than that, I really, we have a lot of people now who want to start charter schools because they want to make some money. That's not what it's all about. They need to offer something that we are not offering right now in the Clay County School District.
Thank you.
I agree with Ms. Studdard that charter schools, if they fill a void that we don't offer in our school system, they're very welcome. And there are a number of charter schools that do that and do it quite successfully. With other charter schools, however, that perhaps are money makers, shall we say, we need to hold them accountable. We need to keep their toes to the fire just like our toes are being kept to the fire. And they need to take the same tests that we take, and they need to be evaluated in the same exact way that we're going to be evaluated. All school choice, if a student wants to go, or if a parent wants their child, to go to a particular school, that's awesome. However, we all need to be evaluated in the exact same way.
I would agree with everybody here. First of all, but I do want to say this. I want to say when we talk about public tax dollars, those are your tax dollars, okay? So the public tax dollars should follow the child wherever they go if that parent should choose to put their child in a charter school. So let's just remember whose money it is. It belongs to the parents and the taxpayers. Secondly, I also agree that charter schools should offer something that the district doesn't already provide. Whether that is a different model of learning as opposed to what we currently do today, which is called transformational learning. If it's a different model of learning, I think that's wonderful because I'll bet that parents would flock to a more of a classical type of education. But again, I think those public tax dollars need to follow the child, and I do agree that charter schools should be held accountable as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So our question and answer time is complete, but we're going to have closing remarks, and I am ordering this so that doesn't give anybody an advantage from starting first or closing last when you did opening. So it's going to go in this order: Carol Studdard, Brian Campbell, John McKinnon, and then Mary Bulla. Studdard, you get to begin closing statements.
I just knew I wouldn't go first on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to serve 4 more years. I am an active board member, a hands-on board member. Just for instance, the last week, it's been 6th grade graduation, virtual school graduation, Bannerman graduation, high school graduation. I had a business for 30 years. I sold it in 2010. I am a full-time board member, whether it's going to read to kids or math field days or whatever. I am available, and I am easily accessible by phone with the parents. I care about this county. I want this school district to once again be in the top 10 districts in the state of Florida. It used to be number 8. We're now 18th or 19th, depending on which chart you want to look at. You know, I saw a press release the other day that said that we were an A school district now for the first time in several years. That's not true, ladies and gentlemen. The superintendent's press release was incorrect. We've been an A school district since they started rating districts in 2004. The only time that we were a B school district was last year and the year before under that leadership. You know, my opponent talks about bickering and fighting on TV every time he speaks, but I want to tell you something. For 20 years that I served on that board, we worked as a team collaboratively in a positive direction. The last 3.5 years, regrettably, it's been a little bit different. What is the one difference? A change in leadership. Think about it. I want to work and have this district going back in an uphill direction instead of going backwards. And I need your help and your support, and I would appreciate it if you would vote for me on August the 30th, Carol Stutter, District 2.
First of all, I want to thank the Clay Republican Executive Committee and Sacred Heart Catholic Church for having us here tonight. I want to thank everyone here who's sitting in the heat inside instead of the heat outside for being here. I want to thank my family, even my 2 kids, who sometimes you have to nudge them a little bit to get out the door to these things, but I appreciate them being here and for their support. And I want to thank God for allowing us to have a beautiful day and have a country where we can have an open debate like this. I want to serve on the Clay County School Board to help keep our schools good and continue to help them strive to be great. A leader understands that, I'm sorry. I just want to go to the comments that were just made about me, and I apologize. I do mention the bickering and the fighting on television every time that we talk, and I'm not alone. I hear that from so many people. I hear that, why do we have these bickering and fighting? Why are we having discussions about these issues instead of focusing on the schools and the education? Well, I decided to step up and do this. I'm learning as we go, and I'm not a politician. I don't have a prepared closed speech that's going to knock it out of the park. And, I'm a little bit hot up here, so I'm a little hot on the collar, so it is what it is. But I do know that it's time for a change. It's time for someone to support the other school board members, whomever they may be, whatever team they may be on. For someone to support the superintendent, whoever that superintendent may be, whatever team that superintendent may be on. Because at the end of the day, it's all about putting the students first. So I'm here to tell you today, I would appreciate your vote, and I don't care who sits up there with me, who the other 4 people are, who the superintendent is. I know that I'm going to do everything that I can to do what's best for the teachers, the students, the parents, and everyone who's a citizen of Clay County. Thank you so much.
First, I also would like to thank the REC and the volunteers for the opportunity to be here tonight. And the other thing that I want to do is I just want to follow up. I didn't get a chance to finish my opening statement, and I wanted to tell you that the reason why I was telling you about all that problem-solving methodology is because in my career, I have to get it right, because the lives of passengers on the airliners that fly depend on us. When it comes to educating our children, we also have to get it right, because the future of every child is at stake. Folks, this is serious business. Educating our children is serious business, and I'm sure every teacher out here would agree with that. What I've learned in the past 4 years is that parents, they want choice. They want Common Core out, and they expect success in the classroom, and that means that we have to be able to provide competitive compensation for teachers to retain high-quality teachers and recruit them. I've also learned that they want financial stability in their own lives without the threat of their taxes going up. Taxpayers, both businesses and individuals, taxpayers are keenly aware that their property values are tied directly to the success of the school, and that includes from our test grades all the way to our bond rating. Okay, taxpayers, what they want is they want a great product at a fair price, which means high test scores, solid graduation rates, and students who go on to become contributing members of our county. And lastly, teachers. Teachers need equitable pay. Okay? Teachers need to be able to teach in the classroom without Tallahassee or DC dictating their lesson plans and monopolizing their teaching time. In the classrooms, what they need is they need less time testing and more time teaching. I've learned a lot in the past 4 years, and I am committed to continuing a conservative spending path that ensures financial stability for our district going forward. I am committed to providing competitive salaries for teachers so that we can recruit and retain the highest quality ones, and I am committed to being a professional. Folks, we cannot allow politics to be played out at the expense of our children's education. I am going to, I will be respectful of whoever the superintendent is. I will be respectful of whoever my fellow board members are, and especially respectful of our teachers, our community members, and the taxpayers. And so that's why I'm asking for your vote on August 30th. Let's keep Clay in A district. Vote for McKinnon.
Frankly, I'm tired with how our school district has been going, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. If you look at our teachers, you look at our bus drivers, you look at all of the employees within this county, the morale, as we said earlier, is low. And if you don't believe me, read some of the letters to the editor. Because they have been coming, and coming, and coming, and they're going to continue to come. Because people are unhappy. Not just our teachers. We've had parents at these school board meetings who are also saying that they are unhappy with the way things are going. As a parent, for instance, I went online today to make certain that I could look up what is being taught to my child. I could look up the standards. I could look up the maps that we are given. I couldn't find it on the Clay County School District website. That bothered me. We're tired of what Washington is telling us to teach, right? We're tired, very tired, of the state giving us invalid tests to teach too. And we are definitely tired of the county telling us how to teach, when to teach it. What we want to be able to do is teach. No one on the school board currently has any classroom experience. I am a professional educator. I've taken it from kindergarten, as I said earlier, into the university setting. I know what it takes to get into the university. And I'm concerned that our school system is becoming mediocre. We went from up in the top 10 down to 18th. We keep talking about we're going to be top 10 soon. We're not there. I'm tired of hearing all of the rhetoric and not seeing any of the accomplishments. Please, put me on the school board. I need your vote. Mary Bola, August 30th. Thank you.
We're doing it right now. I wanted to make sure we thank our candidates for participating, and really appreciate you all played nice by the rules, got their thoughts out. You really, really appreciate it. Good for everybody in the room to be able to hear the ideas that you bring with you. So thank you to them, and we're going to do a little change out here of other candidates. Don't hop up and run out. It's not cooler outside. Not cooler out there. We're going to change out here. We do understand that our candidates will be around after we finish the superintendent's candidates for here in just a moment. So stand by.